You thought God's message was about making your life smooth, that if you prayed enough, read enough, went to church enough, everything was just supposed to fall into place. That the struggle was a sign that God left you, that the pain meant you were doing something wrong. But let me help you know, let me wake you up. God's message was never about your comfort. It's always been about your calling. See, we live in a generation that thinks favor means everything's supposed to feel good. That if it hurts, it ain't holy. If it's hard, it ain't God, but that's a lie. That's not how he works. You've been misunderstanding the whole thing because you measured God's presence by how easy your life is, when really, it's in the pressure that his presence shows up the strongest. You prayed for growth, but you didn't want the grind. You asked for elevation, but you didn't want the isolation. You said, God use me, and the moment people walked away, the moment your plans crumbled, the moment the fire got turned up, you started doubting the very prayer you prayed. Listen to me, comfort is not the confirmation. Calling is, and calling always costs. God never promised comfort. Show me one person in the Bible who was called and didn't go through something. Moses had to lead a nation through the desert. Joseph was thrown in a pit and forgotten in a prison before he ever touched a palace. David was anointed king, but spent years hiding in caves, running for his life. Even Jesus, God in the flesh, was betrayed, beaten, mocked, and crucified, but you think your life is supposed to be easy because you're chosen. Nah, you're looking at it all wrong. The attack on your life is not proof that God left you. It's proof that you're carrying something worth attacking. The pressure isn't proof that he doesn't love you. It's proof that he's preparing you. See, you want the oil, but you don't want the crushing. You want the crown, but you don't want the cross. God isn't trying to make you comfortable. He's trying to build you. He's trying to shape you into the version of you that can carry what he's called you to. But the version of you right now, it's too soft, it's too safe, it still needs validation, it still needs applause, it still folds when it doesn't feel good. So God says, I love you too much to leave you like that. He's got to strip some things, he's got to remove some people. He's got to break your heart sometimes, not to destroy you, but to develop you. Because if he gave you the blessing too soon, you'd ruin it. If he gave you the platform too early, your character couldn't carry it. You keep saying, God, why is this happening to me? But the real question is, God, what are you trying to make me into through this? You're not being punished, you're being processed. And the process ain't pretty. It hurts. It stretches you. It pulls things out of you that you didn't even know were there. But that's where the greatness is born. That's where faith is forged. That's where warriors are made. You don't become powerful when everything's going your way. You become powerful when hell breaks loose and you still don't fold. God is trying to teach you how to walk on water while you keep begging him to calm the storm. But maybe the storm is the classroom. Maybe the chaos is the curriculum. Maybe the valley is where he's teaching you to fight, to pray, to trust. And every tear you've cried, every sleepless night, every betrayal, it all had purpose. It all had weight. Because your calling is not casual, it's costly. So stop complaining about the fire. You need the fire. You need the heat. Gold don't become gold until it's been refined. Diamonds don't shine until they've been cut. And faith ain't real until it's been tested. You asked for strength. Well, guess what? You don't get strong from sitting still. You get strong by pushing through resistance. And that pain you're feeling, that ache in your soul, that weight on your chest that won't let you breathe some days, that's not the enemy. That's not God being cruel. That's him showing you that you were never supposed to carry it alone. He's reminding you it's bigger than you. It's not about you. It's about the people attached to your obedience. It's about the generations you're going to break curses for. It's about the lives that will change because you didn't quit in the middle. You've been misunderstanding the message your whole life. You thought God's job was to protect your feelings, but his mission is to protect your future. And sometimes that means letting the storm hit, just to show you the anchor was inside you all along. You thought he forgot about you, but what he really did was hide you while he was preparing the stage. You thought you were being delayed, but you were being developed. And if you can shift your perspective, if you can understand that the pain has a purpose, that the discomfort is divine, you'll stop running from it and start rising through it. You don't grow in comfort, you don't lead from ease, and you sure don't fulfill purpose without pressure. You were called, you were chosen, and that's why it hurts. But I promise you, if you hold on, if you trust the process, if you stop looking for peace in places that were never meant to give it, one day you'll look back and realize the struggle was never the enemy, it was the evidence. God's message wasn't to make you comfortable. It was to make you capable. You keep praying for God to get you out, but what you don't understand is God's been giving you exactly what you need to get through. Every time it gets hard, you cry out, God, deliver me. But God's saying, no, I'm developing you. See, you think the presence of pressure means you're being punished. You think the storm means you're off track, but what if the storm is the track? What if God is saying, I'm not removing the mountain because I gave you the strength to climb it? What if he's saying, I'm not parting the sea this time because I gave you feet to walk through the waves? You keep asking for rescue, but God's saying, no, I already put the power inside of you. You've been misunderstanding the whole message. You looking for escape, but God is looking for engagement. He gave you the tools. He gave you the word. He gave you the strength, but you waiting for something else. You're praying for a miracle, but you won't move your feet. You want God to shift everything around you, and God is waiting for you to shift something inside you. That's not how purpose works. That's not how growth works. That's not how faith works. You want to know what faith really is. Faith is not believing for something to happen. Faith is moving like it already did. Faith is walking when there's no path. Faith is stepping when there's no safety net. Faith is going even when it still hurts, when it still doesn't make sense, when everybody walked out, when every door slammed in your face. Faith says, I'm not waiting on a sign, I am the sign. Faith says, I may not see it yet, but I believe God already made the way, so I'm gonna walk like it's done. But instead, you've been standing still, frozen, stuck, praying prayers that sound holy but are really just fear in disguise. You say, God, I'm waiting on you. But the truth is you scared to fail, scared to look foolish, scared to be vulnerable, and fear wrapped up in spiritual language is still disobedience. God already gave you the assignment. He already told you what to do, but you keep trying to negotiate. You keep asking him to confirm what he already commanded. You keep begging for peace, but peace comes from movement. You want confidence, but confidence comes after obedience. Let me be real with you. You can't keep sitting in the same place and expect different results. You can't keep asking God to do everything while you do nothing. That's not faith. That's laziness dressed up like faith. You want the breakthrough, but you don't want to break through anything. You want the door to open, but you won't knock. You want the chains to fall, but you won't walk forward with them rattling at your feet. You keep asking for strength but refuse to lift anything. It's time to grow up spiritually. See, there's a moment in life when God stops spoon-feeding you. A moment where he expects you to stand up and use what he already gave you. The word is in you. The Spirit is in you. The vision is in you. The anointing is in you. What are you waiting for? You want him to part the Red Sea, but that only happened after Moses stepped up in faith and stretched out his hand. You want fire from heaven, but that only came after Elijah built the altar. You want walls to fall, but that only happened after Joshua marched 7 days. God responds to movement, and maybe that's your problem. You keep looking for signs when God's looking for steps. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying you won't cry. I'm not saying it won't stretch you in ways you never imagined. But I'm telling you, you have everything you need already. It's not in another sermon. It's not in another conference. It's not in another confirmation. It's already in you. You've been asking God to change your situation, and God is trying to use the situation to change you. He's trying to birth something through this, something deeper, something stronger, something unshakable. But if you keep avoiding the very thing that's supposed to grow you, how are you ever going to walk in what he called you to? Some of you are sitting on gifts that generations are waiting on. You've got books inside you, businesses inside you, ministries inside you, freedom is inside you, but you won't move. You're too busy praying for an escape hatch when God's already handed you the tools. Pick them up. God's not coming to build it for you. He's coming to build it through you. And if you want to see what he promised, you've got to partner with him. You've got to start building even when it's just with broken bricks. You've got to keep moving even when all you've got is faith the size of a mustard seed. Because, hear me, God does show up, but he shows up when you move. He shows up when you step. He shows up when you stand, not when you sit still and shrink. He multiplies what you bring, but you've got to bring something. You want the blessing, then you better start walking like you believe you already have it. So stop asking God to deliver you from the very process he's using to develop you. You thought it was about religion. You thought it was about rituals. You thought because you grew up in church, sat in the pews, quoted the verses, dressed right on Sunday, you thought you knew God. But the truth is, you knew the routine, not the relationship. You had religion memorized, but you didn't have revelation living inside you. You've been misunderstanding the message your whole life because God never wanted your performance. He wanted your presence. He never asked you to act holy. He asked you to be whole. You've been giving him your habits, your attendance, your polished prayers, but you never gave him your heart. And that's what he's been after this whole time. See, somewhere along the way, you started thinking Christianity was a checklist. Did I read my Bible today? Did I go to church? Did I tithe? Did I say grace before I ate? And listen, those things matter, but not without connection, not without intimacy, not without truth. Because without relationship, religion becomes nothing but noise. You saying the right things but living the wrong way. You posting verses on Instagram but holding bitterness in your chest. You lifting your hands on Sunday but can't forgive your brother by Monday. You serving in church but still gossiping about people behind their back. You singing I surrender all but haven't surrendered anything. This ain't about condemnation. This is about correction. Because I don't want you to miss this. You can spend your whole life doing the God stuff and still miss God. You can spend your whole life around the things of God and still never know him. You want to know how I know. Because I was you, I was caught up in the works. I thought that if I just did enough right, God would love me more. If I just acted right, I'd be approved. I thought I had to earn his grace. I thought I had to clean myself up before I could approach him. But the truth is, God was never looking for perfection. He was looking for permission. Permission to get close. Permission to speak. Permission to enter the mess, the wounds, the trauma, not to judge you, but to heal you. But you've been hiding behind religion like Adam hid behind fig leaves, and God's still walking through the garden of your life saying, "Where are you?" Not, "What did you do?" Not, "How much did you read?" Not, "How well did you perform?" He's saying, "Where are you?" Because that's all he's ever wanted. You, not the mask, not the Christian costume, not the perfect church version of you. He wants the real you. The you that cries at night and still doesn't feel worthy, the you that doubts, the you that messed up last night and still came here looking for hope, the you that questions if he's even listening sometimes. That version of you, that's the one he wants. That's the one he died for. And the truth is, relationship will take you where religion never could. Religion tells you what to do. Relationship tells you who you are. Religion gives you rules. Relationship gives you identity. Religion will make you work for what's already been won, but relationship says it is finished. That's why Jesus came. He didn't come for behavior modification. He came for heart transformation. He didn't come to build a temple. He came to make you one. That's why when he died, the veil tore. That was access. That was God saying, "I don't want distance between us anymore. You don't need a middleman. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to earn it. You don't need to fake it. You just need to come, just as you are. But you keep bringing him the version of you that looks right instead of the version of you that's actually real. And you wonder why the healing hasn't come. You wonder why you still feel empty after all these years in church. You wonder why you still can't hear him, why the word still feels dry. It's because you've been performing instead of presenting. You've been going through the motions instead of opening up. You gave him your Sundays, but you didn't give him your soul. And listen to me, he's not impressed with your attendance. He's not impressed with how well you play church. He wants you, all of you, even the parts you're ashamed of, especially the parts you've hidden, because that's where he wants to meet you, right there in the real. And if you'd stop trying to clean yourself up before you come, you'd realize he was ready to meet you in the dirt. That's where grace works best. That's where love is the loudest. That's where chains break, not in the polished image, but in the surrendered heart. You thought it was about religion, but it's always been about relationship. And until you flip that, until you stop trying to earn what's already been given, until you stop trying to impress God and just invite him in, you'll keep feeling disconnected. You'll keep feeling tired. You'll keep going through the motions and wondering why nothing's changing. Because he didn't die for your performance, he died for you. So stop hiding, stop pretending, stop running. Just come home. You've been asking God for miracles, but you've been ignoring the movement he's expecting from you. You sitting there praying, crying, waiting, talking about God, show up. But the truth is, God's been waiting on you to show up. See, the miracle isn't coming from the sky. The miracle is supposed to move through you. You are the miracle. You are the breakthrough. You are the answer to somebody's prayer. But because you're still waiting, still doubting, still scared to move, people connected to your obedience are still stuck too. You keep waiting on God like he didn't already give you the vision, like he didn't already give you the word. Like he didn't already give you the assignment. You already heard him. Don't lie to yourself. You already know what he said. You just didn't like what he said because it required too much, because it demanded you to move when you wanted to stay safe. You think faith is about waiting, but real faith doesn't wait forever. Real faith walks. Real faith moves. Real faith says, I don't have the money. I don't have the connections. I don't have all the answers. But I'm going anyway. You keep saying you're waiting on clarity, but it's not clarity you're lacking. It's courage. God is not a magician. He's not here to wave a wand and make your life easy. He's not here to hand you the blessing with a bow on it while you sit on your couch hoping the doorbell rings. No, he's a multiplier. He multiplies what you move on. He blesses what you build. He honors what you start. Even if you start scared, even if you start small, but you've got to start. Stop praying for what you're not willing to pursue. Stop asking for open doors when you won't get up and knock. Stop asking for confirmation after confirmation when God already gave you the conviction. You talking about God send the resources. God's saying, I am the resource. I just need your yes. You don't need the full plan. You just need faith for the next step. Do you understand that every miracle you've read about in the Bible required someone to move? The walls of Jericho didn't fall because Joshua stood still and worshiped. They fell because they marched. Peter didn't walk on water because he sat in the boat and said, Lord, I believe. He walked because he stepped out. The woman with the issue of blood didn't get healed because she sat at home hoping. She pressed through the crowd and reached. And you sitting here begging for something God is trying to birth through your movement. You're saying, God, why haven't you answered? He's saying, why haven't you acted? You waiting for a move of God, but God is waiting for a move from you. You've been sitting on that business idea for 5 years. You've had that book in your heart since high school. That nonprofit, that ministry, that podcast, it's been in your spirit forever. You got the vision. You got the wisdom. You got the story. And what are you doing with it? Nothing. Because you're scared of how it's going to look, scared of what people are going to say, scared it won't work. But hear me, obedience is your responsibility. Outcome is God's. You don't have to know how it's going to end. You just have to start. You don't need it to be perfect. You don't need it to be popular. You don't need to go viral. You need to be faithful. If God told you to do it, do it. If he gave you the vision, build it. If he placed it in your heart, move on it. Stop waiting for it to feel safe. Stop waiting for it to make sense. Because some of y'all are waiting until it doesn't look like risk anymore, and you'll be waiting forever. That's not faith, that's fear with a bow on it, and God doesn't move through fear. God breathes on faith. You think you're being patient, but let's be real, you're being passive, you're being disobedient. And you're calling it wisdom, but it's actually wasted time. I'm telling you right now, you've got something inside you that can shift the atmosphere of every room you walk in. You've got something that can change the trajectory of your entire bloodline, but you're sitting on it. You're stalling on it, and time is not going to wait for you to stop overthinking. God gave you a seed, you burying it in fear, but seeds were never meant to stay in your hand. Seeds were meant to be planted. And yes, planting feels like dying sometimes. Yes, it feels like being covered up, forgotten, overlooked. But if you trust him and stay rooted, that thing is going to grow. That thing is going to break through the dirt. That thing is going to multiply in a way you never imagined. But it starts with movement. So no, you don't need another miracle. You don't need another sign. You don't need another prophetic word. You need to move. You need to act. You need to step. Even if you're scared, even if you don't have the full picture, even if nobody claps for you. Because God already said yes, you're just waiting to agree with him. You don't need more power. You need to activate the power you already have.